Ready? All right, going up. Here we go. Yeah, you can go up. Push. Keep going. Going the wrong way.
He's funny, he's convivial, he's relaxed, good at what he does.
There's a very gentle focus on set.
He is just so smart about his work. I adored him, and it was a delight to go into work every day.
I am ready to go, ready to do my job to the best of my abilities.
I learned a long time ago not to write a part for a specific actor, because every time you do that, you don't get the actor. So I was very pleasantly surprised that Brad Pitt decided to do this.
A self-destructive side. That's what she used to say to me. I survived. I should feel something. James and I, we've been friends since the mid-90s, and we've often talked about doing something together. With this film, he really surpassed himself. You could feel it was a very personal story to him.
I was a lunar astronaut for Spacecom for 31 years. And I came to the realization out there, a voyage of exploration can be used for something as simple as escape.
We're dealing with a very contemplative character where certainly connecting with others is not necessarily in his skill set. He's quite capable on a tower if it gets dangerous, but when it becomes intimate, he's challenged. And that is set against finding out that his father may still be alive.
So close. I love you, my son. Clifford is the father, Roy is the son. They haven't seen one another in a long time. The only relationship they have is the memory of moments when Roy was a child. It's not much of a relationship.
This is Major Roy McBride. I'm communicating through a secure laser transmission on Ursa Base, North America, Sector Mars. His father left when Roy was a teenager, like 16, 17, and then disappeared and went off the map. Dad, I'd like to see you again. And it brings up feelings in Roy that he thought he'd put away in its right place a long time ago.
Maybe in some ways, Roy would be the perfect person to travel in space because of a lack of interest in relating to others.
I will not rely on anyone or anything. I will not be vulnerable to mistakes.
We had done a lot of research on what you might call schizoid personality tendencies. Those kind of people are going to be very sought after by NASA to go to Mars because you have to be in close confines with the same group of people for a year and a half. That'll be psychologically quite taxing for many of us.
Your psychological evaluation has been approved.
The irony, of course, being that were they to come upon something truly astounding, they might be the worst person to talk about what it actually means for the human species. Perfect example would be Neil Armstrong was the absolutely perfect person to do what he did. But when he came back to Earth, didn't speak a whole lot to the metaphysical meaning of what it was like to step on another celestial body outside the Earth.
I'm being pulled farther and farther from the sun, down the same dark hole. I think there was a nice juxtaposition between Clifford and Roy character in that sense, because he comes from an ilk that my father's generation, where we don't complain, we don't brag, we do what we do, and we move on. Roy was seeing the shortcomings in that and is trying to evolve because it's just not working for him anymore. It's not working. He promised me that one day I could join him in his pursuits. What did he find out there? Did it break him? Or was he always broken? I must accept the fact that I never really knew you.
Most astronauts depicted in movies are intrepid and charismatic. We wanted to make a film which was quite subjective, where you see the world through one character's eyes, so you see others fairly dimly. We could do all the exploring we want out there, but the inner life of a person is just as strange and unknowable.
This is a guy who is excavating the depths of his experience as a human being asking some very difficult questions of himself and wondering what kind of person he is and what kind of person he wants to be.
I so appreciate that because the way I grew up, I see my people, you know, as pioneer stock, as survivors. We take pride in being capable. Cut our arm, we sprain our ankle, we break our wrist. We don't complain, we get on with it. We hardly even think about it. I've been, I guess, trained that way because we just don't deal. The downside of that is that sometimes we fail to take inventory on how we feel on the interior.
Brad Pitt. Well, he's an interesting figure because he is a movie star with movie star looks and charisma, but he's not entirely comfortable with it, which is a great thing, and you feel it in the work. In other words, a movie star that's confident in being the center of all attention, and that becomes almost like an invariably conflict-free person in your movie. Brad doesn't have that. Brad has a conflict inside of him. And that was perfect for the part. It's perfect for the character.
24? One more 24. It's just because he gave these great looks.
What makes Brad a unique producer, actor, and some kind of beautiful combination of both, a sort of a third thing, a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of situation. You have a person who just has a really relentless attention to detail, I think a really strong work ethic, and really is probing for like the truth of a situation.
They never told you what happened to him out there, did they?
It's very much his film. He's at the helm, and you feel that focused, sort of kind energy permeates the set.
And he is, by the way, an excellent actor. Very subtle, wonderful at taking directions that you might give him and then expanding them into something else. He's immensely talented, but it's hard to know that because it feels effortless.
For James and I, it was really a discussion of what is connection, especially for a man. Where does strength really come from? What we were striving for is that our strength comes from actually being vulnerable. Maybe it's where we're heading as men, maybe not, I can't say. But these were the early discussions that I found really compelling about what he was after with this piece.
I viewed Roy as really an extension of me and of everybody that I know, which is headed somewhere, not exactly sure where, and thinking he knows what he wanted, maybe even getting it, but there's something seriously lacking. There's a hole that needs to be filled inside.
We talk about space as the void. I mean, really what we're talking about is death. We come in alone and we go out alone. To confront that, to be able to sit with that. Most of us spend time trying to avoid that.
Initiating manual override.
The challenges of being a human and dealing with our connection to humanity. Are we spending too much time looking outward, really running from ourselves and running from each other?
Let me go, Roy.
And ultimately, this is the conclusion Roy comes to, and it's really the message of the film, that we can't keep looking, that we need each other.
Good luck.